This evening, first up, duty, discipline and compassion. President Irfaan Ali urges new GDF officers to lead with integrity as 31 graduates, including regional partners, are commissioned to serve Guyana and the Caribbean. Plus, peace through strength. The President reaffirms Guyana's commitment to a zone of peace in Latin America and the Caribbean, vowing to confront transnational crime and defend national sovereignty with vigilance and resolve. Also, from murder to manslaughter, a 19-year-old Baramita woman accused of killing her reputed husband is granted bail after prosecutors reduced the charge, her lawyer calling it a step towards justice. Meanwhile, cruise tourism on the rise. The luxury SH Vega docks in Georgetown, bringing international visitors and renewed momentum to Guyana's growing appeal as a world-class ecotourism destination. And chaos in Peru, dozens injured after violent clashes in Lima as protests erupt just 1 week after the country's new president took office. Those stories and more coming up on Headline News Update. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for October 16, 2025. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali has called on the newest graduates of the Ghana Defense Force Standard Officers Course number 56 to serve with integrity, discipline, and compassion as they take up leadership in roles in the defense of Guyana and the wider Caribbean region. Addressing the commissioning parade at Base Camp in Ghana, President Ali reminded the 31 graduates, who include 6 ensigns from the Ghana Police Force and 4 officers from the Belize Defense Force, that their commission marks a lifetime commitment to service and ethical leadership.
Let your careers illuminate what it means to serve the people. May your uniforms always be clean, not only in the cloth, but in conscience. May your commands be just, your decisions wise, and your loyalty known.
The Commander-in-Chief reminded them that they must lead with fairness and compassion, ensuring the well-being of their soldiers and fostering a culture of accountability, resilience, and service. This year's graduate represents the 6th batch to complete the restructured 24-month Standard Officers course, which now awards an associate degree in general studies from the University of Guyana. The revamped program aims to produce officers who are academically grounded and strategically equipped to advance Guyana's total national defense policy. President Ali commended the graduates, their instructors, and families for their dedication, reaffirming that the government remains committed to developing strong, principled military leadership for Guyana and the Caribbean. President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali has reaffirmed Ghana's steadfast commitment to maintaining Latin America and the Caribbean as a zone of peace, while vowing to confront transnational crime, the illicit drug trade, and any activities that threaten regional stability. Delivering the feature address at the commissioning parade for Standard Officers Course number 56 at Base Camp in Ghana on Wednesday, President Ali told the newly commissioned officers that defending peace and sovereignty demands both strength and principle. He stressed that Ghana's defense investments are not preparations for war, but investments in peace.
When we invest in national defense, it is not an investment in war. It is an investment in peace. It is not preparation for conquest. It is preparation for protection. It is about securing our prosperity.
Reiterating Ghana's adherence to international law and the peaceful settlement of disputes, especially before the International Court of Justice, the President said Ghana firmly rejects any form of aggression and any effort to impose solutions through force or intimidation.
We reject all forms of aggression and any attempt to impose solutions through coercion. We insist that peace, dialogue, and international law must define the way nations interact in our hemisphere.
Dr. Ali also highlighted emerging security threats, including cybercrime, human trafficking, and terrorism, and pledged to modernize the Ghana Defense Force with advanced tools, technology, and training to meet those challenges. Underscoring the importance of regional cooperation, the Commander-in-Chief stated that when one nation in the Caribbean stands strong, the entire region is fortified. He reaffirmed that Ghana's dispute is not with Venezuelan people, but with the actions that endanger the nation's sovereignty, declaring that Ghana will defend every inch of its territory with vigilance and resolve. On a different note, 19-year-old Nadir James of Northwest District, who was charged with the murder of her 20-year-old reputed husband Kevin Smith, has been granted bail following a successful appeal to have the charge reduced to manslaughter. Attorney-at-law Sanjeev Datadine, who is representing the teenager, made legal representations to the Director of Public Prosecutions, arguing that they were sufficient grounds for the lesser charge. The DPP agrees with the submission, paving the way for James to be released on bail. Datadine described the decision as a positive development, noting that while the matter is not yet concluded, efforts are being made to have James reunited with her family soon. A preliminary inquiry into the manslaughter charge is expected to begin in the coming weeks. The charge stemmed from a fatal altercation on September 18, 2025, when James allegedly stabbed Smith in the chest after he reportedly attacked her with a cutlass during a domestic dispute at their Baramita home. Following the incident, James went to the Baramita police station, reported what had occurred, and led investigators to the scene where Smith's body was found nearby. The case continues as investigations remain ongoing. As the case moves forward, Attorney Datadine expressed hope that justice will be served in a manner that considers both the circumstances of the incident and the age of the accused. Stick around when we return. Luxury cruise ship SH Vega brings 75 tourists to experience destination Guyana, and Guyana reaffirms commitment to regional food security on World Food Day 2025.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from modern optical services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown, telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Ghana's tourism sector received a significant boost. 75 passengers and crew members aboard the luxury SH Vega cruise ship arrived in Guyana on Wednesday morning, docking at the Ghana National Shipping Corporation's wharf for a day of exploration and cultural immersion. The visitors hailing from the United States, the Netherlands, Germany, and Panama were welcomed to a vibrant display of local arts, crafts, and beverages, a showcase of Ghana's rich culture and hospitality. The captain of the luxury cruise ship expressed optimism about adding Ghana to the cruise line's regular itinerary. If added to the itinerary, tourists will embark on guided tours highlighting the nation's heritage sites, ecotourism attractions, and iconic landmarks. Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Susan Rodriguez, joined the welcoming team and presented Captain Voda with a piece of local art, reaffirming the government's commitment to strengthening partnerships with global cruise operators and promoting Destination Guyana as a premier travel experience. The visit of the SH Vega marks yet another milestone in Guyana's growing appeal as a sought-after cruise destination, reflecting the nation's ongoing efforts to showcase its unique blend of culture, nature, and hospitality to the world. In other news, as the world observes World Food Day 2025, Guyana has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening food security and advancing sustainable agriculture across the Caribbean. In his message marking the occasion, celebrated under the global theme Hand in Hand for Better Food and Better Future, President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali emphasized the importance of collaboration in addressing hunger, malnutrition, and rising food costs. While acknowledging the impact of global food price inflation on households, particularly in low-income nations, President Ali said Guyana remains resolute in ensuring access to safe, nutritious, and affordable food to all citizens. He highlighted Guyana's ongoing efforts to become the Caribbean's regional food hub through expanded local production, agricultural diversification, infrastructure development, and the adoption of climate-smart technologies. Initiatives include scaling up key commodities, expanding the aquaculture and livestock industries, and empowering women and youths in the agricultural sector. Emphasizing that food security requires shared action, President Ali urged governments, private stakeholders, and communities to unite in pursuit of a sustainable food future. Guyana embraces this challenge with conviction and optimism. The president's message concluded reaffirming the nation's commitment to building a food-secure Caribbean, hand in hand for better foods and a better future. Don't go away after the break. Syria seeks to redefine Russia ties, Al-Shara tells Putin in Moscow, and Philippines protest crackdown. Police accused of brutality after killing last month.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneak clearly with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Current smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Trinidad police are probing reports that 2 nationals may have died in a U.S. strike that destroyed a vessel accused of smuggling drugs from Venezuela. President Trump says 6 narco-terrorists were killed. Authorities are liaising with Venezuelan officials and the U.S. Embassy to confirm identities amid regional tensions and uncertainty. Dozens of demonstrators and police have been injured after a protest march in the Peruvian capital, Lima, became violent. Al Jazeera's Mariana Sanchez reports.
Hundreds of police prevent demonstrators from advancing. A small collective called Resistance Insurgency Movement, or MRK, with small wooden shields, tried to stop the police. Teachers, unions, workers, university students, they marched in the capital and Peru's largest cities, demanding that everyone, all politicians in power, leave now. In some of the largest protests held in months, Peruvians, in part inspired by young Generation Z protests around the world, have defied police repression to come out on the streets. 20-year-old Steven Juarez coordinates the MRK group. With 8 presidents in 9 years, they have spent nearly half their lives living with political upheaval.
It's the same feeling among all Peruvians. Anger, weariness with everything that's happening. We've had enough.
He says they are ready to do anything to topple the government of newly appointed José Geri in office for less than a week.
I'm truly disappointed with the authorities. They don't represent me. I'd like to see all the congressmen and officials go in a total purge.
President Geri is facing at least 5 investigations for corruption and embezzlement. A rape accusation was shelved. The new prime minister faces complaints for sexual misconduct, and the minister of defense for domestic violence and sexual harassment.
Political leaders have signed a letter demanding Geri's immediate resignation and the formation of a new transitional government that would have, quote, moral authority.
Frustrated Peruvians say they don't see an end to the continuing decade-long political crisis.
The government has only just changed, but they're the same people who've been governing all this time. It is the same corruption pact.
On Tuesday, Geri called for calm and said he invites those who feel forgotten to a national dialogue. Stephen and his group here, behind Mask and Shield, say time is up. They see no other option other than fighting for a new government. They want security, a job, and the rights they feel they deserve as citizens of Peru. Mariana Sanchez, Al Jazeera, Lima.
Rights groups have accused police in the Philippines of using excessive force to stop anti-corruption protests in Manila last month. Al Jazeera's Barnaby Lu reports.
This was the last photo of 35-year-old Eric Saber while he was alive. The image his family says they want to remember him by because the final moments of his life are too painful to see. Eric was shot dead in the chaos of anti-corruption protests in Manila on September 21st.
It is so clear that in the video he was just crossing the street when he got shot. He was just going home from work.
Authorities had initially denied that gunshots rang out, and Eric's death certificate before his body was independently examined didn't indicate he died from a gunshot wound.
This was the area where Eric was shot dead, across from that motel where protesters allegedly ransacked the lobby. But witnesses we spoke with say those protesters didn't randomly storm the motel, but were chasing after armed men.
Video Al Jazeera obtained corroborates the account. Officials also say they're aware of a photo of 3 men carrying guns, but insist they're rioters. One of the protesters we spoke to, however, says he saw one of those men fire his gun. The man, he says, was not a fellow protester. He's asked us to conceal his identity.
The anger I set aside during that peaceful march came back to me, and I was like, no way, these are from the people who are meant to protect us countrymen, you know? Like there is a saying, who are you gonna call when it's the police who's doing the bad stuff, right?
Human rights advocates say while they acknowledge police officers were attacked, the response was excessive.
We have seen videos where the police were clearly beating up protesters, you know, trying to catch one after another. And we don't even know if they have identified them properly. Things escalated too fast. And at the same time, it was clear that they were at the back end when it comes to dealing with the situation properly.
Police have so far denied being responsible for any death or wrongful arrest, but say they're conducting an investigation.
If critics can present credible witnesses, we are open to hearing them. As we always say, our investigations are transparent, and we will hold our personnel accountable if we have to.
And that's all Eric's family is asking for, a truthful investigation that will help them in their quest for justice. Barnaby Lo, Al Jazeera, Manila.
Syria's President Ahmad al-Shara has told Russian President Vladimir Putin that he seeks to restore and redefine ties with Moscow, a key ally of the ousted longtime criminal ally Bashar al-Assad. Al Jazeera's Abdullah O'Kelly reports.
The mere idea of Syria's new flag being raised in Moscow would have seemed absurd just a few months ago. Not long ago, Russian fighter jets flying out of Hmeimim Air Base were targeting Ahmed al-Shara's rebel forces in support of Bashar al-Assad, Syria's longtime ruler and Russia's ally. But at the Kremlin on Wednesday, all that seemed to be forgotten.
In Russia, there have never been any relations in regards to Syria that were connected to our political situation or special interests. Throughout all these decades, we've always been guided by one thing, and that's the interests of the Syrian people.
A desire to hold on to that airbase and other interests may explain the change of heart. Hmeimim and the Tartus naval base on the Syrian coast are Moscow's only reliable access points to the Mediterranean. The friendly courting was not one-sided. The government in Damascus has changed, but it's still tied to Russia in many ways. In addition to economic links, the Syrian army still almost exclusively uses Russian weapons.
We're trying to introduce this new Syria to all the countries of the world and reconnect the political and strategic relationships with all regional and international powers, including the Russian Federation, because there are also historical links in common.
One point of difference remains: the former president, Bashar al-Assad. He has taken refuge in Moscow, and the new government is believed to have formally requested his extradition. For Syria, it is also crucial that Russia does not veto any future efforts to lift UN sanctions. So, for both sides, pragmatism was the order of the day. While many are discussing its political significance, the mere optics of the Syrian-Russian meeting triggered feelings of sorrow for a population that long suffered under Russian warplanes and missiles, adding another layer of complexity to the matter, and prompting many to wonder if their ties to the former regime's ally will ever really be broken. Abdullah Ghali, Al Jazeera, Damascus.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 30-minute forecast. And that's TV2 Headline News for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.